Hi, I am Paul Amos, aka Jacob Frye, aka Vex, aka just another actor, and I'm with Chris Gordon on Hellblazers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, my lovely audience, wherever you are in the world right now. Welcome to Hellblazer Biz, the show where you get to have your questions answered by your favourite TV and film stars. Hellblazer Biz is brought to you along with the BS Podcast Network and also the Britpod scene. So get yourselves onto those and find out and listen to some amazing podcasts out there as well. Do you love listening and watching Hellblazer Biz? If so, I'd really appreciate if you could help to keep the show alive by becoming a patron. For as little as $1 a month, you can be part of the show. Find out more at https://patron.podbean.com/hellblazerbiz or click on the Become a Patron link on hellblazerbiz.com. Thanks for all being part of the show. Today I'm proud to bring to you the other half of the Frye twins, a great actor established on screen and game. For his role in Lost Girl to playing Jacob Frye in Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Paul Amos has won himself an army of fans. Sit back and enjoy as he jokes about my poor lighting and much, much more. For your pleasure, I introduce to you Paul Amos. Afternoon for you, Paul. How are you?
I'm good. I'm staring at you in a dark forest. You're in a really dark room with dark trees behind you.
It is.
I know. It just looks a little pervy. It's just a bit weird, just a little bit off center. I'm not sure how to feel about this.
Yeah.
Especially as you said, I'm with Paul Amos right now.
I know, yeah.
And it looks like we're in a dark forest.
Just be
This
thankful.
is good. It's good. We're going to go to sequence 8 with Roth very quickly, right? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say, make sure at least it wasn't last week because I had laryngitis, so my voice was like really husky as well, and that would have just made it sound really bad.
Well, obviously, because you spend too much time in dark forests, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Exactly.
Fair point.
Okay, I should have said, hi, it's Paul Amos. I'm play Jacob Frye, and I'm with Chris Gordon on cottaging business. There you go.
Yeah.
That's a different kind of website.
Yeah, it is, yeah. You might need a bit more security to get to that website.
Yeah, exactly. What's your favourite forest to go to? Anyway.
That's fine, then. A lot of people mention that forest, but that's the first time it's been mentioned in a creepy cottaging type way.
Well, there you go. It's very dark at the moment.
It is, yeah. As I said, I do my mom.
Barely see your face.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's because well, that's probably a good thing. But it's my wife broke the lamp. She actually broke the fitting, so I can't change the light bulb. So I do, like I said, I've got this little.
Yep.
So yeah, I do thank you for coming. Anyway, this is great.
Right.
I really do appreciate it, and so do a lot of the people out there as well. Just to hear from yourself. You are.
Yeah.
People see you at Comic Cons and you and Victoria together. I say I met you last year in November, and I've got a lovely picture of you with a bird. It's great, which is your standard, I think. Which is it's a pretty awesome.
The bird travels. Bird travels.
It does.
Always.
It does.
Several of them actually. I put them in my suitcase. Actually, you need to take 2 suitcases with the amount of birds I have generally. Yeah. So, I mean, it cost me extra, in luggage fees, but
yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. That second case is always way more expensive, right? I don't know how it just shoots up dramatically.
It does. It goes like £20, then £500.
It's like here's 20 quid, and here's a mortgage. Basically, you have to take that. So I took a mortgage out for my extra suitcase of birds. Yeah.
Well, it was much appreciated by everybody who I think received them.
Yeah, people generally like the birds.
Yeah, they do. Cool. Yeah, and I was saying, when people love you at Comic Con, people love you. I mean, and you and Victoria were there at Wales Comic Con this year, scribbling over each other's posters that people would bring to you, which is just people's pride and joy now because they've been defaced by Paul and Victoria. Which is, I saw some of the results of it, and it was absolutely fantastic.
I know. I'm glad you say people like me at Comic Cons because I mean, generally they don't like Victoria as much. She's a bit more dour and not as much fun, right?
Well, she was on this last week and she was saying someone better keep you under control. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That
actually brings us. Yeah, one of the questions here was it's far down the list. Oh, it was down the list. Was going to say you've joined a group called the Blue Tits. Lauren Corelli set up on Twitter. She was a fan. Yeah, she created a group called the Blue Tits, which you joined, and Victoria joined last week purely to keep you under control.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just a little Twitter group of a sort of a commemoration, obviously, to Syndicate. But
she's monitoring me. She's like my mum again.
She is,
like
yeah.
Yeah, I know. Even though she's in wherever she is, Alaska or wherever at the moment, she's still monitoring me, right?
Yeah.
She still sends me my weekly allowance as well. Occasionally, she wipes my ass too. Only when I've had too much to drink.
Yeah. Wondered what you were doing at Comic Con that time.
Well, what else was there to do, to be honest?
Fair enough. Okay, a few questions, basic ones about yourself. It's like, how did you become an actor? What was it that just made you decide that this was what you wanted to do? A vocation in this area?
My grandfather was a local MC in South Wales. I kind of grew up with my grandfather, and I used to get smuggled into what was British Legion kind of compare the big clubs when they used to be really popular back in the sort of 70s and 80s, and they used to have like 300 people all smoking in a room, killing themselves and giving each other cancer, but having a great time.
Yeah.
And drinking far too much. And then they would smuggle me, what was like a 5-year-old boy, into, check my grandfather singing and telling jokes and doing the rest of it. And, and by proxy, probably killing me and giving me cancer as well. But generally, I was having a good time. And yeah, I just kind of grew up with them that way. So I was used to the idea of telling stories, entertaining in large groups of, crowd. And my grandfather was really good at that. And, I sort of grew up with him as well as my parents, because they lived very close to each other. And I think it all kind of stemmed from there. And the fact that I played a lot of rugby to quite a high level. And then I think when I realized that if I carried on playing, I probably would have, broken both my legs and my arm and anything else in my body, because the game was just getting a bit too Neolithic, like rock for me. And I decided maybe I'll, keep my features intact and my body intact and go into this thing that I was seemingly good at.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, rugby's definitely a Welsh way of life. I'm in North Wales myself. Yeah, on the coast. Yeah, so I remember when I was at university in Lampeter, in Mid Wales, and we did a rugby team there. I was in the OTC. We played the Paras, because it was obviously the officer training course, so we kind of did that, and we played the Paras, and there goes my light, and I say thank God that I got knocked out, not literally knocked out, within about 5 minutes, because I was crap at rugby, so they got me off the pitch, and I'm really glad, because most of the guys came off with broken arms, broken elbows, because the Paras didn't care about the ball, they just cared about beating the hell out of whoever's on the other side of the field.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's the same thing with. It's a good thing you're not a lighting technician either, because you keep dropping that.
I'm trying to balance it here.
Yeah, I'm watching you. It's kind of fascinating, but I don't think you should go into a professional career in lighting in any shape or form.
No, I think that'd be quite a failure, wouldn't it?
I'd leave where it is if I were you. Do yourself a favour.
Yeah, thanks for highlighting that one.
I don't need to see your face. I don't mind looking at the pervy cottager in the forest. It's all right. Making me feel slightly uncomfortable, but it's enough. We'll get through it.
We'll get through. Oh, see, you just throw me off now. That's great.
There you go.
It's all right as well. You know, you just had to highlight the fact that I was struggling with the lamp there, because when people do watch the video, they'll just see me as a little tiny box in the corner, and now everyone's going to be just focusing. There it goes again. It's just going to be focusing on that.
Oh, jeez.
Me cocking the light. Oh, you know what? I'm sod it. It's going back on the table. Go back in the dark again. Right, okay. Moving on. You've got some excellent credits on IMDb, etc. I mean, one of them you've worked in. I mean, there's loads that you've worked in which are cracking, but you've worked on Warehouse 13 as well. I've just had Eddie McClintock on recently. How was it working with those guys? Because they seem to be a lot of fun on set for that kind of thing. I know it was a one.
That was it was a one-off. That's my wife. She's not going to leave me alone. I have to tell her where I am.
Fair enough. I know that feeling.
I'm literally just at home, but you would never know it. Hang on a minute. I kind of lost you on my computer here. Has anyone else noticed that Skype has become like an absolute garbage, isn't it?
It has. Yeah, you just click on one thing and boom, it's gone.
Yeah, it's like it's just become okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm doing an interview. Leave me alone. I'm doing an interview. Piss off. There you go. That should work, right? Okay, there you go. Carry on. What was that?
Where the old Warehouse 13 thing.
Yeah, it was a bit of a backdoor pilot, that one. It was. Remember, it got pitched. They wanted to maybe have a spin-off show with Jamie Murray as HG, and so they pitched it as a backdoor pilot within the season.
Yeah.
So which is I did that, and it was like, oh yeah, this could be cool. And they were like, yeah, it's not going to be anything else in the season, but we might spin this off into a series, and you'd be playing her brother. So yeah, that's what that series is all about. And I actually only worked with Jamie and Gareth Lloyd Davis and just a couple of other people. So yeah, it was only a few scenes and that. Yeah, it was nothing crazy. But
cool.
Yeah, it was fun. It would have been fun had it turned into a spin-off.
That would have been good actually.
I think people kind of liked her character in that, and and Gareth obviously coming in for the one episode as well.
Yeah, she got a good following on that, so it was a good character. I thought I'd only mention it to say because of Eddie being on, I was like, it's like, oh yeah, it was a cracking show.
I went to the first ever con I did was Dragon Con. And I was there on the Friday before any of the Lost Girl people got there, and they had scheduled me on the Warehouse 13 panel.
Yeah.
So I turn up with all the sort of main cast members, and nobody had any idea who I was. I just kept taking the piss out of that through the whole time. I was like, nobody really knows who I am, do they? I could be anybody right now. I could be anybody. I could be just a joke. And the people kept asking questions, and I had no idea. I had no idea about the show. I had no idea even the people who were on the panel. I had no idea. I'd done this random one-off. So, yeah, sadly, I'm not fully versed in the Warehouse 13 world. Although I'm told it's an excellent show. Yeah,
no, that's cool. That's great. Have you done? I mean, okay, moving on to Assassin's Creed as well now, which is what you hear. How did Jacob come about? How did that role come about? I know Victoria informed me she met you at the initial casting, I think, when she was over in...
Yeah, I mean, I've told that story a ton of times. It's like, it just involved like so many flights, and so much, like, it took me like a year and a half, I would imagine, to get that job from when I first did the TGF, which is like their pilot. Yeah. Or pilot that they do for video games. And it just kept, it was there, it wasn't, I had it, I didn't. There was so many like near misses on it, and eventually, after 9-10 flights of like traveling around the world, they eventually gave me this job. And I think Victoria had to do like one flight. I don't think she even flew. Oh yeah, they called her to fly to Quebec just because she could hang out,
right,
and see what Quebec was like. I, on the other hand, had to fly everywhere and audition amongst lots and lots of other people. So, Yeah, that's what I got. It was something I always really wanted. To be in a video game, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was happy to get it.
Oh yeah, I can imagine it's gone huge as well. I got Peregrine McDermott, who is Shay Perry Cormac on Twitter, and at
Yeah,
Ripperbully on Twitter is also asking the same. How did you get into character, or how did you get into character to voice Jacob?
I don't get into character voice, Jacob. I don't know. It was funny. We created, I've mentioned this before as well. We created different characters in the auditions. They were a little bit more, I guess they were a little bit more street. And then we created these slightly more educated characters. So they were sort of educated assassins, but I think Jacob kind of, as an educated person, assassin, he hung out on the street a lot more. So we kind of sort of had a hybrid, but they definitely wanted something a little bit more, not quite so London, right?
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, when it came to doing the commercials and doing the publicity that's exactly what they wanted. They wanted Guy Ritchie, London, 1864. I'm Ray Winston. Have another bet. Yeah. Jacob Frye, go on, bet. I get bet Jacob, bet Frye, bet Frye. I could go for bet Frye. I could see that being on in the middle of a Sky Sports program. Yeah,
we break for
bet Frye. The bet of Frye.
Plasterboarded all around the football ground.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be perfect. Yeah. So then they did want that. So. Yeah, it was kind of confusing. I almost had two very different characters. One which was, marketing Jacob.
Yeah.
And then my headphones just went out, so now you're going to get a different quality of voice all over again.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah. Obviously, my daughter's been using my Bluetooth headphones because they were charged, and now they're not. She's secretly been listening to things in the bedroom.
Suspicious.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just like when I had the statue given to me by Ubisoft, which was the Charing Cross edition. It's a box, and it has a game, and it has Jacob in it.
Yeah.
He's looking all pimp-like, and then the box opens up to be in Charing Cross Station. So my daughter saw this, and she was like, "I need that. I want that." So I had to literally give her this box, and I told UB, I was like, "Well, I lost that, and it's all opened up." And they were like, "Oh, don't worry, we'll send you another one." So I go into a room, and Jacob is out of the box. The box is opened up, and he's outside of the box looking in, and inside of the box are 3 naked Barbies. So
okay.
basically running his own brothel in London. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what I've done to my daughter.
I was going to say, what have you done to the poor girl?
I've sullied her mind in this way, but then again, I am staring at a pervy cottaging guy in the forest.
I was about to bring that up as well,
Yeah, so I mean, this is what I expose her to.
In deepest, darkest Wales as well.
No, I know. Terrific, even in the summer.
Where men are men and sheep are worried. Yeah.
Sheep are nervous.
Very. I'm sure you've heard the old one. What do you call 3 sheep tied to a lamppost in Wales? Leisure centre.
There you go.
That's coming from me. I've had that for years.
Yes. Haven't we all?
Yeah, it's you have to go through life now. When you live in Wales, that's what you have to put up with.
Indeed.
Excellent. Peregrine's also asking, throughout your whole acting career, what's been your most favourite role to play?
My most favourite role to play. I don't know. I've had a lot of theatre roles that I've really loved doing. I did Measure for Measure, and I played Angelo in Measure for Measure. That was a really, really, really fun role, which was made a big difference for me as I moved into TV and film. So, yeah, that was a really good role. TV wise, I've had a lot of fun roles there too. But I did really like playing Vex on Lost Girl. It was a lot of fun. He was like a crazy, crazy character, and
it's not often you get to play those kind of crazy characters on TV and that kind of wacky. So that was a lot of fun. And yeah, I mean, Jacob was great. It was more video game orientated, but yeah, it was definitely, it was a really super fun character to create and bring to life in that format, which is, an unusual format to bring characters to life to the extent that people, really kind of fall in love with their characters and stuff because, ultimately it's a video game, right? So.
Well, yeah, definitely. It's different types as well because it's motion capture as well with the one that you've done rather than just voice in the game. You actually, you're doing that mocap as well.
Yeah, and I think it made a difference. And, the people that did like the game and did like the characters, really, really invested in them and they really liked them, which, doesn't always happen in video games. So, yeah.
Definitely. Because I did say to Victoria last week, and then remembered about it being mocap. I said she's got a lovely little wiggle when she's doing as Evie. You're just sitting mesmerised on the frame.
Which bit of this wiggling? What are you talking about?
Evie's ass, as she's walking, it's got a nice little wiggle on it.
Oh, awesome. No, I should be happy about that.
Worry. Yeah, we had a nice little conversation about that.
Okay.
Yeah, she was quite happy. About how she wore heels and so obviously, to make sure that it got the right deliberate wiggle.
Yeah, I told her to do that. Yeah, she had the trainers on before, and I was like, "Babe, it's not working."
Yeah. You stood there behind, just looking at it, going, "No, come on."
We need more of a wiggle here.
Excellent. Dark Chocolate Police Cake, who's on Tumblr, or aka AC Origins, has got a couple of questions. When it comes to managing all of the roles you've been given over time, what would you say is the hardest part of giving life to all of the different characters?
Hardest part of giving life to characters? I don't know. They sort of, they sort of find themselves a little bit. You work away at characters that you think are going to work for you. There's a lot of hit and miss because you go through a lot of auditions, and there's only so many characters that people can play. Especially on TV and film, they're different from who you are.
Yeah.
So you end up exploring certain characters. And sometimes it hits and and all of a sudden you'll get a part or something and you're working on something and there's a synergy at the right time and then you sort of give birth to it that way. It's it's not too much unlike making love to a degree, and trying to have a baby. And you're constantly doing it with these characters that people are sending you. And sometimes they just don't connect at times, and then all of a sudden where you are and what you're doing and what you've been offered connects, and this character's born, and then if you're fortunate enough to explore it even further, in terms of a show or in the sake of the game, which was a big game, so we were able to fully explore it. Then you get lucky, and then these sort of characters are created. Then you go through periods of time where it's difficult to create something new, or you get older, or it's just there's so many different and yourself as well, and maybe you don't want to play the same characters anymore. It's interesting.
Cool. Next one she's asking as well. It's going back to like the mocap as well. It's obviously that's a very different than voice acting in other media due to motion. Does that affect you when you're approaching the role, as opposed to say a voiceover, or as opposed to when you're going to be fully on screen? How do you kind of approach a motion capture role differently?
I don't know. You have to use your imagination a lot more. But to be honest with you, even when you're in TV and film, it's not like you're looking at what you're doing all the time, right? TV, like when you're acting, you're never looking at yourself. So, well, you hope you're not, because that'd be weird. I don't know. You just, I don't think there's much difference to it. There wasn't for me anyway. I was just, because I knew we were in full motion capture, I knew that you had to, in terms of the physicality of it, had to be a bit more pronounced. So there was technical stuff that you had to do to, you were overlaying things on top of what you would usually do, because it was just my body on TV, and or a certain character moves a certain way, but you did have to just to make sure that it was very pronounced, so that it was clear, because it's animated and rendered, right? So you got to give them as much as they can to go on, without it being too stilted and over the top. So it's kind of fine balance. It was quite a technical balance to work out, but when you're doing it every day for 6 days a week for like 4 months, oh god, I'm yawning now just at the thought of it.
As long as it's not because you're bored with me.
No, it's actually because I'm actually quite tired. It's because of the rugby this weekend.
Yeah, and the pictures of the cottaging thing.
I was up till 6:30 a.m. on Saturday morning. So, and the weekend didn't really stop there after that. So, Monday's never the best day. No, so yeah, it was difficult, but it was fun, and it should be, and it was challenging, and it was a good technical feat. Yeah.
Excellent. And the last question from that AC Origins: has the industry in general, voice acting, normal acting, has it changed a lot since you first started?
I have no idea because in terms of how dramatically it's changed, it's voice acting was only something I really started to do in the part, maybe about like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Just doing like voiceover commercials and the old animation here and the Captain Canuck animation webisodes and then this. So I'm not actually that prolific in voiceover. So I don't know how the industry. I can't see that it's changed dramatically. I mean, video game has changed a bit because of motion capture for sure.
Yeah.
But in terms of the other industries, still pretty much the same. It's still just a mic and somebody in front of it, right?
Yeah, true.
From like the days of radio way back when, which is a lot of fun actually, because once a lot of the technicals are stripped and it's just literally down to your voice, then it becomes about a lot of your own skill, right? As opposed to these 100 other people that are creating these things. So I think it's largely remained very similar, I would say, other than that, it's probably got a little bit clearer and the technicals are a bit better.
Yeah, a bit more technologically advanced. Does it keep? Well, that's going to happen no matter what, isn't it? It's
that's all.
Yeah, cool. Panda Notes, Deviant Art. How much do you relate to Jacob personally?
Yeah, quite a bit for sure. I like that, I was definitely, from outside of London, and I went to London and explored London and probably lived much like Jacob Frye did when I was living in London. So I got that idea of arriving in this sort of this incredible metropolis, that was, for me, it was incredible. And I spent 10 years of my life there and I trained there and stuff. So, yeah, in terms of my own life, and I'd certainly relate to what they were both going through. Yeah. And then finding their own way in London and trying to mature and evolve in a city, that is a big, tough city, and you have to grow up pretty quickly, which is what Jacob and Evie have to do in the game. So, yeah, and obviously in the meantime, just do a lot of drinking and a lot of screwing up and getting a lot of things wrong and getting into debt and getting into trouble and all those things that happen in London when you're younger.
Oh yes, been there, done that.
Exactly. That's what London's about pretty much. Is.
I had a great company I used to work for. It was a .com, so I was there for 6 months, and then the final 3 months didn't get paid at all. But the guy refused. It was a sackable offence to have meat or fish in the building. So on the day we all got told that we weren't employed anymore, and obviously the company had gone under, we just went out and got bacon butties and cans of beer and just started slapping the bacon all over the walls, just because we were children. And that's what you do, isn't it, when you thought, well, sod it. It was a sackable offence if you had meat or fish. The guy was a strict vegan, which is fair enough, but a sackable offence if you had meat or fish in the building? I'm sure that was against some sort of law, but yeah. It was one of those learning experiences that you have.
Wow.
But yeah,
nuts.
Lots of drinking and lots of getting into debt because of the drinking, because of the cost of the drink.
Yeah. It's an expensive city all around, but it's a fun city for sure.
Oh god, yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to going back again very soon. Yeah, down in I'm actually going to be living in Apsley in Hemel Hempstead, where I was born and bred.
Oh, there you go.
But commuting into the London, right into Westminster, so it's going to be right in the heart of it all.
Nice. Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah, it'll be good. Excellent. The other question from Panda Notes is, if you could have any weapon from Syndicate in real life, what would it be?
Oh. I mean, hard not to have a real life hidden blade.
Oh, I know.
Really, I mean, let's be honest, the cane would be fun as well. I mean, my back is a bit dodgy right now, so I could use the cane just for that purpose. And if anybody give me grief, then, you just pull that one out. And, that's not a knife, that's a knife. Maybe do one of those. Yeah, that'd be fun. I wouldn't mind being Crocodile Dundee mixed with Jacob Frye. Yeah, I'll go with that one.
Yeah, that'd be good. Could just see you on the streets of LA just pulling your...
Yeah.
Well, that could actually sound dodgy. I could see you on the streets of LA pulling your cane. Here we go with that cottaging website again.
Here we go. Awesome.
Excellent. Anouk Vignier-Lapierre, if a cartoon or anime or even a sequel of Syndicate is made, would you reprise your role as Jacob?
Yeah, for sure. I would never say no to reprising those characters again. They were a lot of fun. I think some more fun stuff could be explored with them. I don't know if that ever happens in like an animation form or something, but those were fun characters, and I don't think they're going to go away from our voices too much too soon, so I don't think it would be too difficult to go back to.
Fair enough. Anouk, and also Raylene, who is at RazzyDev, what are your thoughts on the Roth-Fry relationship and Maxwell Roth and the scenes there?
Again, my take on that one was he had sort of a father figure, or someone who he was just kind of getting carried away with, and drinking a lot and having a lot of fun and kind of getting a bit into chaos and out of control, and out of that then stemmed whatever happens at the end of that sequence, which I think is more of a surprise for Jacob, and just it is another question that gets posed to him, about where he's at and what he's doing, who he wants to be. So that's my take on that one.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, Miss Girly Player and XX Absolute Chaos. Their question was simply password with a question mark. Saying hopefully they'll understand what they're referencing.
Password. Oh, is that like that's not the knife sequences, or oh no, the weapons. No, what with the password?
It's beyond me, I'm afraid. On that one.
My password. Yeah. Want into my account?
Hack your accounts. The other question was the one we mentioned before, which you're not going to do on air, but there was at some point, would you be able to read some more short smut from the Dirty Ass Creed secrets again?
Yes, I'm sure that's possible at some point.
Oh yes, yeah. Well, for the ones who did ask it, we did have a good discussion about that before, about whether we can get that happening again. Okay, so Aurelie, who's in France, if you could do another Assassin's Creed game, which era would you like to explore? Because I know they're bringing out the Egyptian one, aren't they, with Creed Origins? Yeah,
they are. Which looks fun. What era would I like to explore? I don't know, there's so many cool eras. I mean, I think like King Arthur's realm would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, with like sort of Merlin and a lot of those characters. I think that would be a pretty fun Assassin's era to explore. And that's probably one that I could voice again. I'd go with that one, especially being Welsh and a lot of that heritage and that whole history, which is super rich and involves a lot of kind of knights and that sort of realm and order of people. I think that would have been a really great one to explore.
Excellent. Yeah, definitely great era. Wales steeped in Arthurian legend.
Yes, the sword and all that kind of stuff. It would have been fun to have had that as a major weapon.
Definitely.
Maybe King Arthur was an assassin. Who knows? And we could have really messed around with a history that not many people know what the exact history of it was anyway. So
that would have been really good. And I mean, you have got a little assassin rabbit with big nasty pointy teeth. Sorry, this is Monty Python King Arthur legend there. So
there you go.
Yeah. I'm a sad geek, so I've got to bring shit like that in. Shane O'Loughlin, do you have any personal insights or thoughts about how Jack the Ripper affected Jacob's personal view of the creed in his later years?
Well, I mean, Jack was his disciple. It was his protege, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was the mentor. I think it's interesting for Jacob that, the Jack becomes what he becomes, which is a very disturbed human being.
Just a tad.
Which is, I guess, would be Jacob's offspring, would be Jacob's protege, would be a very disturbed human being. I think Jacob's got a lot to question about himself, let alone anybody else, by giving rise to a prostitute murderer.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot to question on that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What?
Well,
how did Jacob drive him to do that?
But I mean, then that would have been problematic.
What was that? Sorry, Paul, missed that.
I said at least Jacob wasn't Jack the Ripper.
Well, yeah, that would have been.
That would have been problematic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Prostitute killer as your main franchise, hero would have been a little bit problematic.
Just a little. I don't think it might have sold or been as popular then.
No, I know. I don't think anybody noticed, but
yeah, it might have been a career suicide. Potentially. Simon Barry Brisbois from Canada, on your IMDb page, saying you've been involved obviously in a lot of plays at the Stratford Festival. He'd like to know what plays you've done exactly and which ones were your fondest.
I wasn't in a lot of them. I did I think called what was the Conservatory, with a group of 12 people, and then I did one season where I did Othello, I did A Merchant of Venice, and I did An Ideal Husband.
Okay.
And then I got out of there.
Fair enough.
I was in and I was out.
Cool. Do you prefer theatre or do you prefer screen? Or are they both equally the same but in different ways?
I haven't done theatre now for a while, and that kind of irks me. But no, I just think that the thrill of doing theatre is really great. But there's certainly something to be said that when you're on set and you're creating cool stuff, that it's a really, really, really fun process. And now with the advent of like social media and things like that, then you get to see a kind of a live reaction to what people are experiencing, which I guess never really used to happen. Yeah. So that's kind of fun because it's a little bit theatrical, kind of as you're reliving it and going through it. If it's being aired or presented, or people are just experiencing it, it's kind of fun. But yeah, there's nothing like doing it live in front of an audience and having to be on point for like 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
It's
when you're on screen as well, you can do something wrong, you get another take, you can do it this way. Theatre, you get it wrong, you're screwed. Because there's all that audience who've just seen you get it wrong, so you just got to carry on.
Yeah, doing the video game was a bit like that because we had to do every take in one take. So,
right.
I mean, you couldn't mess it up at all. So it was a little bit like theatre. So, I mean, that was the really fun thing about that process, was there were elements of it that were very, very close to theatre. So, which is what I really enjoyed. So it sort of used all my skill set, which is fun.
Excellent. I know you're holding your head. You're either holding your head or you're trying to shield yourself from the cottage and forestry in the background. Is this too much for you on a Monday morning?
I can't see what's going on underneath the table. So who knows?
The hands are here. Don't worry.
All right. Yeah, they do disappear every now and again. For long periods of time. Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. BB Catchers on Tumblr. What's your favourite Jacob line?
Oh, I mean, it's hard to stray away from "Who's a good horse? You are." I mean, it's one of the most bizarre lines I think I've ever had to say in my life, so I may as well go with that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It is pretty obscure.
Yeah.
Cool. And
big love of animals.
And bringing it on to finally, sadly, to the last question, but obviously probably happily for you, so you don't have to see this forest anymore. The question is from someone who you know quite well, Salad and Chips.
Oh, okay.
You're friend, good old Kim Beecham.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had that awesome car. She had God, I mentioned it to Victoria last week. Her cosplay in April was on point, wasn't it? It was absolutely half and half. Jacob and Evie was absolutely brilliant. Really was. So she thought it was hilarious because you nicknamed her Salad and Chips.
Oh yeah. Half and half.
Yeah.
Uh,
yeah. She'd like to know. There's a couple of questions. When you'll be back for a UK convention again?
I'm hoping I might be at one in September and maybe one at the end of October as well.
Okay,
yeah.
Excellent.
Back twice, it'd be nice.
Yeah, be good. Come and see you. That'd be great.
Yeah.
And okay, what's your favourite Lost Girl episode and why?
Favorite Lost Girl episode would be 405, I think, just because it gave a lot of Vex's back history. It was a really fun episode for me to shoot. A lot of the scenes I really enjoyed, and it was a really sort of big episode for that character, and it was a lot of fun for me, and it involved just a lot of fun. Yeah, it was a really good episode. I really enjoyed that one. Excellent. For me, personally. Yeah.
Cool. Brilliant. And the final question from Kim is, what were your impressions of the new Assassin's Creed game? Have you seen much of the demos or anything online?
I haven't. I've seen what's available, and it looks great. And the new assassin, he's a graduate from my old drama school as well. So keeping it in the Lambda family, and he seems to be doing a good job. So it'd be good. It'd be good to get out maybe a couple of cons where he's present, where both of us might be present as well.
Yeah, catch up with him.
Yeah, pass the baton of the Creed on.
Excellent. And before I stop recording, is there anything you'd like to say to the people who are listening, the fans who are watching or listening? Yeah,
I'm really sorry that we've disturbed you all this evening with this dark forest cottaging person in front of me, but it's what happens on a Monday in Wales, I guess.
Yeah, sadly. There's nothing else to do.
Exactly.
Cool. I'm still laughing, and this is post-recording. Thanks very much, Paul. I really appreciate your time, and everyone who sent in questions, thank you so much. I appreciate you all as always, and I hope that those who did get their questions sent in and asked got the answers that they were looking to hear. Anyway, this has been Chris Gordon with Paul Amos on Hellblazer Biz.